I am snowed in here in Canada. I'm gonna do a review because I got nothing better to do. Yeah! Shalom, everyone. My name is Cody Baynert, and today I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the new album from Hellripper. Fuck. Titled Warlocks, Grim, and Withered Hags. That was the name. I just looked it up. Hellripper is a band that I admittingly have not heard of before at all. That was until Metal Trenches sent out a very aggressive but also very funny community post on his YouTube channel. Shout out to Metal Trenches, great channel, where he basically said, "You better be listening to the new Hellripper, otherwise you're going to be excommunicado." I was like, okay, all right, I'll check it out. And I was really not sure what to expect from this. Judging by the name of both the band and the album, I thought it was going to be some like very old school death metal or black metal or something. I was kind of correct, but I was not expecting to love it nearly as much as I have. Wow, this thing is so much fun. Now, because I'm a complete poser, I've never really cared much for earlier sounds in metal music back in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like heavy metal, thrash metal, speed metal, even like 90s black metal, most of it at least, except for maybe Ulver. Within that time period, I'm more of a fan of like 70s progressive rock and electronic and ambient and a good amount of pop and sometimes neoclassical stuff I think is really cool. But regardless, despite my personal preferences, this new Hellripper album, it definitely does rip. It definitely goes hard. This is a very interesting kind of mixture of black metal and thrash and speed metal and at times almost like a little bit of some progressive metal, kind of along the lines of earlier era Skeleton Witch, although in my opinion, quite a lot more enjoyable. For Hellripper executes these familiar and aged sounds and styles in ways that feel fresh and exciting in a modern context. The opening track, titled The Knuckle of E, already is an example of what I mean. By the way, this song spends no fucking time getting things started. As soon as you hit play, boom, the song is starting. There's already a pretty sick drum fill that leads into some very rapid, fast drumming and guitar work. It's gripping. And from there, the track is a 6-minute roller coaster filled with some pretty sick, almost Metallica-esque riffing, kind of, before we get into a bridge that feels somewhat reminiscent of the type of guitar work I would expect from like an earlier In Flames album. There's lots of cool detours and twists and turns and tempo changes. And these detours don't really feel like they're just there just for the sake of being jarring and being surprising. They just add genuine interest and serve the song in a very particular way. The song that comes right after, titled I the Deceiver, keeps the momentum going with more rapid, fast, Oompa Loompa style rhythms and a very catchy lead guitar melody. And I just find myself smiling and headbanging to this whole freaking song. And something else that I really like about Hellripper's music is how he kind of tries to embrace the cheesiness of these earlier sounds in a way that just adds so much to the album's charm. For example, at the end of the aforementioned I the Deceiver, the song literally ends with the This review is going to be filled with shitty impressions, isn't it? Oh my god. Anyways, the next song, which is this 7-minute title track, is probably the most slow-paced song, but regardless, the songwriting ability of Hellripper makes this such a captivating number for its entire runtime. Got lots of really great lead guitar melodies that are catchy and also really kind of moving at times. There's like a genuine sense of triumph to be found in quite a lot of these melodies, especially when we get to the very end of the track, where we get an actual live bagpipe solo, which very much kind of ties into the Scottish theme of the record. By the way, did I mention that this is a one-man project from Scotland? Yeah, it's impressive that this is all done by one guy. Just from these first 3 songs alone, if you told me that this was by a collective or like a band with multiple members, I would have believed you. Like this, it's harder to believe that it's by one guy, but I mean that in the best way possible. The following song, titled Goat Vomit Nightmare, brings things back to a much faster pace with what is probably the shortest and most straightforward track on the record. Regardless, it is still a very captivating track that uses its rapid, fast pacing to its advantage, but then also kind of slows down a little bit during the track's outro when we have these kind of bittersweet guitar harmony, which I think is a pretty nice kind of subversion of expectations that still works very, very well and fits very nicely on the track. Then we get to one of my personal favorite songs, titled The Cursed Carry-On Crown. This song is generally very fast pacing and speedy riffs along with its somewhat progressive flourishes. Very much feels like something that I would expect from a Revocation song, albeit with the old school magic of something that I would expect from Metallica. And like some of the other previously mentioned songs, this one goes through a lot of different switch-ups and movements while still keeping things cohesive and coherent, and without ever feeling like it is getting too all over the place and too messy for its own good. And admittedly, I don't really care quite as much for the following two tracks that come after. They're more short and straightforward ones that aren't really as adventurous, but are still very interesting and fun, and are still filled with some really impressive solos and guitar passages and whatnot, along with some really catchy hooks from the main member of the band. Speaking of the vocals, something that I really like about James's delivery is that even though his vocals sound very much like the types of screams and rasps that you would expect from lots of old school 90s black metal, his enunciation is quite clear and also quite catchy. Like with the way that he phrases stuff like sex, 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 like it's hard to just not get that stuck in your head. After these two relatively straightforward songs, we have what is probably the album's most adventurous track, which is saved towards the very end, titled Messer Store Worm, which is an 8.5-minute progressive black metal opus. Well, the song kind of begins somewhat like what you would expect, with a somewhat verse and chorus like song structure. The song afterwards goes fucking everywhere, but in the most exciting and invigorating way possible. There are certain passages that are probably the closest that the album gets to being straight up black metal, with some pretty vicious tremolo guitars and blast beats, along with some kind of proggy licks that come shortly after that. It is just a mind-bending and really exciting and triumphant way to end the record, which results in it being probably my personal favorite on the album. So yeah, this thing really pleasantly surprised me, and I would honestly say that with the sheer amount of talent and skill and heart and passion poured into this, that this is probably one of the best and also most fun metal albums that I have heard this year so far. And I can totally understand and appreciate and empathize with the hype behind it and how much praise that it is getting from fans of this artist, as well as the styles of music that it utilizes in general. If you love thrash or black metal or anything like that, check this album out if you haven't already. It will most likely blow your socks off. The production, the performances, the creativity that is shown throughout this whole thing makes it, again, extremely hard to believe that this is just by one guy. James, you are a madman, and you deserve all of the love that you are getting right now, if not probably more. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts on the new record from Hellripper. Have you given it a listen? If so, please let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section down below if you'd like. And of course, if you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.